Some Friday morning.
Raindrops on roses and whiskers on kittens. Bright copper kettles and warm woolen mittens. Brown paper packages tied up with strings. These are a few of my favorite things.
So we're going to be talking about our favorite things, if you hadn't guessed from that song, which sometimes I'm pretty sure you won't be able to guess what we're trying to think.
Yeah, but the last line was favorite things, the last words.
Yeah. So these are things that we love to do.
Love.
So you're going to start off with something that you love to do.
Anything in the water. Anything. Doesn't matter. I especially love water polo and surfing. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So
water polo and surfing.
So I had the opportunity in the military to surf to try surfing in Australia, and then I had the opportunity to surf in Hong Kong, but I was afraid of the water a little bit because it looked gross. It looked like it just looked.
I don't blame you. I just think it just sounded.
Yeah, I was afraid of the water. No, that would never happen. I was afraid of the pollution in the water. And then I grew up I swam quite a bit growing up. We all did. And then I got even more into it right before I went into the Navy. And then after I got home from the Navy, then I got even more into it to where I learned all about all the strokes and everything like that, and while I was in the military and everything like that. And
our mom was a lifeguard when we were just young kids.
So she taught us in her class. And so I ended up finding water polo. They had it's an intramural sport at my school, and so it's not like a huge deal, and that's why I was able to try out for it, was because I was like a swim team nerd. Like I helped, like I was sort of an assistant coach for a couple of teams when I was a lifeguard and stuff like that. And I was a swim teacher. I taught swimming lessons for about 2 years. And so I wouldn't say I'm a fast swimmer. I am fast in comparison. Like, I get people that come up and they're just like, "Are you in the Olympics?" And I'm just like, just because we're in Idaho and nobody swims here I'm not even fast for a swimmer. But to the people in Idaho, I'm very fast. And so are you in the Olympics? Yeah, I get asked that all the time. And all I have to do is swim a couple laps. And it's just like, and I know that I appear to have a very powerful stroke. I don't have a fast stroke, but I have a powerful stroke. Like, try stopping me and I'll just drag you with me kind of stroke. And so I just have a lot of power behind my stroke. And so I started playing water polo. Like, I tried out, and they put us on teams and everything like that, and then we played it out through the semester, and I excelled in it really well because, like, I had a hard time getting ahead of my opponent, like, because a lot of the time you play one-on-one and you play a certain position in water polo, kind of like soccer. And so if they got ahead of me, then I had a hard time catching up. But I had an arm to shoot. I could shoot. I could pass really well and easy. And if I didn't want my opponent to move, they weren't going to move. They didn't move. I was like, "You will not move," and they didn't move. So I think that probably my favorite things is just, I like to swim, but I like water polo more than I like swimming laps, because why not swim after a ball rather than just swim laps? And so you're still swimming the same distance either way, but you're swimming a whole lot faster and you're more pumped up for water polo. And surfing. I really loved surfing. I surfed in Hawaii. I got sunburned every time I went surfing, but I didn't care. I was just like, whatever, it's worth it. So it was amazing. And I didn't get super good at that, but I think I could have. I can read the waves well.
So one of the things that I love is learning. And that might sound kind of weird.
On my list too, actually.
Okay, so some specific things that I love to learn about. I love learning about health and nutrition.
This is a new added thing.
No, it's not new.
Relatively new.
I've been forced into it. Initially, I was forced into it because I found out I was gluten intolerant with no help of any doctors. I found that out on my own. So I love learning about, but it grew into this
passion for it.
Yeah, I love listening to podcasts and watching webinars about nutrition and stuff like that, because I'm a nerd like that. And then something else that I love learning about is actually personal development. I love listening to Jack.
Which is another kind of health.
Yeah, right. So I listen to Jack Canfield and Tony Robbins and all the gurus.
Brene Brown.
What's the guy who wrote 7 Habits of Highly Effective People? Stephen Covey. Like
Yeah.
all those people.
Bob
Lisa
Proctor.
Nichols. Yeah, all those people. I
What's
love.
that one? The black guy.
Les Brown.
Les
I
Brown.
love Les Brown.
I love Les Brown.
He's awesome. So I love learning about that type of stuff, and so going along with that, I love hanging clothes on the line. This is sort of combined. So when I hang clothes on the line, this is part of the reason. I've kind of mentioned this in previous episodes, but it's sort of meditative for me. But I also like to listen to my podcasts while I'm hanging clothes on the line, as like this. It's my classroom, I guess. So I listen to that, or in the car or whatever. I just find it very awesome and fun and interesting.
And as far as learning goes for me, I like learning about pretty much anything.
Well, yeah, I like learning, but those are the main things that I'm learning about right now.
Well, like, I love learning about every wild animal and different languages. Like, I always want to be learning a new language and music. I love learning about music. I love it, love it, love it. And so, like, I'm learning how to play the piano and the guitar right now. And I love that. And then, like, the names of all of the animals and insects and fish and plants and weeds.
We've mentioned
in
that in
Latin.
previous episodes too.
I could learn all of them.
It's a Lepidoptera.
Lepidoptera.
Whatever.
And that's a butterfly and a moth. Just for all of you who don't know that. I like learning in general. I love learning about the world and even the universe. I love learning about the stars and the galaxies and the different types of galaxies and the different clusters of stars and the constellations in the sky. And I just basically, if it's anything even closely related to science, which I think music is closely related to science because it is a science. It's a science of sound.
So is this your second thing you love to do,
Yes.
or are you just contributing to
No.
mine? Oh, okay.
This is my second thing.
Okay. I just made
My
sure.
second thing is I love learning but the thing is most people don't get that. I say I love learning and they're just like, what does that mean? And I'm just like, I love to learn. And so this might not be a super relatable topic, but when I tell people that, they have a hard time understanding what that means. I love progression. I love to feel the progression that learning gives me. That's what I love about learning.
So my second thing is, even though I already kind of said two, but anyway, my second thing is I love to talk to people. I'm very much an extrovert. I love having conversations. Yes, and when I am having like a rough day and I go to like a social gathering, family function, or a church thing, or
she's energized by it,
or a neighborhood picnic or something like that. Yeah, I come home and I feel like 100 times better. I just feel so good. So
she's talked out her problems and
not just that, even if I don't talk about my problems, even if I'm just talking about other things, it just makes me feel good. So something else that I love learning, but then I like telling other people about what I'm learning too. That's something that's super important to me because I feel like I can't just hold what I'm learning inside of me, especially if it impacts other people's lives. So that's something that's super awesome that I love to do.
Another thing that I love is I love being outside. I love doing it. I love doing pretty much almost anything outside. I took an archery class and I love the archery. I love riflery. I love hiking and swimming and fishing, and I pretty much, if it's outside, I love doing that. I love doing anything outside. I love music and books. So basically learning. So learning can encompass all the things that I love the most. If I'm learning something or if I'm teaching something, like I love teaching too. So like when I taught swimming lessons, so I guess that's my third thing is teaching. Learning about anything, especially outside and machines. If it's man-made or God-made, I love it. And so I love teaching. I worked with fish for a while, and we would take these 5th graders, these 11-year-olds, and we would take them up and we would teach them about their watershed that they have right at the tips of their fingers and that they never visit and see because they don't know about it, or they're not really given the option to explore. And so we take them up there and we teach them a little bit about fly fishing, which, my favorite thing about fly fishing is the bugs, which, so you know. But I love I love fly fishing. I mean, like I love all that stuff. And then I would teach him about the fish and like the different parts of the fish. And we did the anatomy inside. We like dissected some fish, and I did it with them. And I had actually collected the fish from Fish and Game the day before, so it was like they were fresh fish, and then we
Fresh fish.
You catch them, you buy them.
Sorry, I couldn't help it.
and then I was teaching about the different macroinvertebrates, which are insects in the water. Macroinvertebrates are insects, and generally, and then so it was just like they were touching it and just all that stuff. I loved it. I love teaching people. When I taught the gospel, I went on a mission for my church, and when I taught about that, then I love teaching that, and I love teaching swimming lessons. I love teaching. If I learn something and then I get to teach about it, then it's more memorable because then I remember the things that I taught.
Definitely. Maybe that's why I like teaching stuff too, because I'm like, then it's more beneficial for me.
Like it stores in your brain better if you will end up teaching it to somebody else. So
my third thing is I love to eat, and I'm surrounded by family members who they're not picky about the type of food that they're eating. Like we eat vegetables, we eat all the fruit, we're not picky about like eating carrots and broccoli and stuff. Yeah. But they are all concerned about how it's prepared or what's in it or how the flavor is and all this stuff. And I'm not like that. I'll eat pretty much anything. Like my sister, there's this famous line that I use on her. She's like, here, try this. How does it taste? It needs something. And I'm like, tastes fine to me. And I say that to everything. And so she's like, here, taste this. See if you can taste anything wrong with it. But it'll probably just taste fine to you. But I love to eat food. I think that food is just amazing and awesome. And so it tastes so good.
She likes the blend of flavors.
It warms my soul
to taste good things. And then if my sister does end up figuring out what it is that's missing, and then she gives her, and then it's just like, oh yeah, that's better. But she didn't know what she added, and she didn't know how she fixed it. But she just noticed that whatever was missing,
it has a change in flavor. That's all I noticed. What are some of your favorite things?
Yes, please share with us and comment, subscribe, like.
Thank you for watching.
May adventures be in your cards.